There's one thing that separates the players who make it from the players who quit after 3 months of trying. It's not mechanics, it's not your setup, and it's not even your natural talent. It's your mindset, and 99% of players get this completely wrong. By the way, if I sound really weird, it's because I'm very ill right now, but I still wanted to get a video out for you. Most players think going pro is about grinding creative for 12 hours a day and hoping something clicks. They think it's about copying what their favorite streamers and pro players do and expecting results. This is exactly why most players will never ever go pro. Today I'm breaking down the 3 mindset shifts that every serious competitive Fortnite player needs to make. These are psychological frameworks that determine whether you'll still be grinding in 2 years or whether you'll give up like everyone else. Growth versus fixed mindset. The first mindset shift is understanding the difference between growth mindset and a fixed mindset. Before you roll your eyes thinking that this is basic knowledge, listen to how this actually applies to competitive Fortnite. Players with a fixed mindset believe their skill level is predetermined. When they lose a fight, they say things like, I'm just not good enough, or that player is just better than me. When they can't hit their edits consistently, they blame their ping or their setup. Also, I know that a couple of you are actually struggling with ping, so if you are, make sure to go to the description where I have an affiliate link straight to Gear Up Booster. Gear Up Booster just reduces your ping. It just makes sure your Wi-Fi is the quickest it can possibly be. So go check that out if you're having a real struggle with ping. Players with a growth mindset understand that every skill in Fortnite can be developed through deliberate practice. When they lose a fight, they ask, what could I have done differently? And they identify specific techniques they need to work on. Here's the brutal truth. If you have a fixed mindset, you'll never go pro, because the moment that you hit a plateau, and you'll hit multiple plateaus, you'll convince yourself that you've reached your natural limit. Growth mindset players understand that plateaus are temporary. They know that improvement isn't linear. They expect to have bad days, bad weeks and bad months, but they never question whether the improvement is possible. Let me give you a practical example. You're in ranked and you keep getting third partied in the same situation. A fixed mindset player either thinks that they're unlucky or thinks that everyone else is just better at positioning. A growth mindset player analyzes their replays, identifies positioning mistakes that led up to the third parties, and creates specific practice scenarios to improve their game sense in those specific scenarios. The difference is that one player sees the problem as permanent limitations, while the other sees them as temporary challenges with solutions. Section number 2, patience with progress. The second mindset shift is developing a genuine patience with your progress. And I'm not talking about the fake patience where you say that you're being patient while secretly expecting results in 2 weeks. Real patience means understanding that meaningful improvement in competitive Fortnite takes months, not days. It means accepting that you might have to practice a specific technique for weeks before you can actually execute it consistently in high pressure situations. Most players have what I call a highlight reel expectation. They see a pro player hit an insane clip and think they should be able to do the same thing after practicing for a few hours or even a few weeks. They don't see the thousands of hours of practice that went into developing that level of consistency / skill of the pro. Here's what patience with progress actually looks like. You dedicate to improve your piece control. You spend 2 weeks just practicing basic cone and ramp placements in creative. It feels boring. It feels like you're not improving fast enough, but you stick with it because you understand that mastering the fundamentals is the foundation for everything else. Then you spend another 2 weeks incorporating those placements into 1v1 situations or into ranked. You lose fights you think you should win because you're implementing the new techniques instead of playing your old comfortable style. This is frustrating, but you need to understand that it's part of the process. After a month of consistent practice, you'll start seeing the improvements in your actual games. Your piece control is cleaner, your fights are more controlled, and you're taking less damage in engagements. This is what patience with progress actually looks like. The players who quit are the ones who expect to see results after their first week. They practice a technique for a few days, don't see immediate improvement in their tournament placements, and move on to the next secret technique that they think will give them instant results. Patience also means understanding that improvement isn't always visible on the surface. Sometimes you're building neural pathways and muscle memory that won't show up in your gameplay for weeks. Sometimes you're developing game sense that will only pay off in situations you haven't encountered yet. So just before we get into section 3, I want to talk about my new playlist, which contains all the videos you'll ever need to improve and go pro at Fortnite. So make sure to check that out. And I also now have a second channel called Zenin More, which you can go check out. It's more casual, laid back games and funnier games rather than the hardcore competitive Fortnite. Anyway, sorry for taking your time. Make sure you stick for this last point because it is so important. And for section 3, long-term thinking. Most players say they're thinking long-term, but their actions prove otherwise. Long-term thinking means you're making decisions based on where you want to be in 2 years, not where you want to be next month. It means prioritizing sustainable improvement over quick fixes. Here's what short-term thinking looks like. You have a bad tournament result, so you completely change your keybinds and sensitivity. You see a new technique trending on social media, so you abandon your current practice routine to learn it. You have one good game, so you think you're ready to start taking every fight aggressively. These are all mistakes that I used to make and also pros used to make too, so don't feel bad if you make them as well. Long-term thinking looks different. You have a bad tournament result, so you analyze your replays to identify specific mistakes that cost you placements. You stick with your current practice routine for at least a month before evaluating whether it's working or not. You understand that one good game doesn't mean you've mastered a new skill. Long-term thinking also means accepting that going pro is a process, not an event. It's not about having one breakout tournament that changes everything. It's about consistently improving your skill, building your reputation in the competitive scene, and creating opportunities for yourself over time. Most players think going pro means getting signed to a team and immediately earning thousands of dollars. The reality is that most players spent years grinding, networking, and providing themselves before they reach that level. Long-term thinking means you're willing to invest time into skills that might not pay off immediately, but will compound over time. Things like studying game theory, developing mental resilience, building relationships with other competitive players, and creating content to build your personal brand. It means you're not just focused on your current skill level, but your rate of improvement. A player that improves 1% every week will surpass a naturally talented player who improves 0.5% every week given enough time. So in conclusion, these 3 mindset shifts, growth versus fixed mindset, patience with progress, and long-term thinking, are what separates players who will make it from the players who won't make it. The brutal truth is that most players will watch this video and never develop these mindsets. They'll keep looking for shortcuts, expecting instant results, and giving up when the improvement doesn't happen fast enough. But if you're really serious about going pro, you'll adopt these mindsets starting today. You'll embrace the process of improvement, accept that progress takes time, and make decisions based on where you want to be years from now, not weeks from now. But the real question is, are you willing to think differently than 99% of players? Or are you going to keep doing what everyone else does and expecting different results?